outside his house, making his family.
Huh? This is the first video that I have ever watched where a lawyer is reacting to it and actually talking about the things that Ben is doing. Oh, sorry. This is a cop, not a oh, OnlyCops. Sorry. This is a cop who is now retired. My apologies. Here we go.
He's lying to you guys. He's making them incidents.
What am I supposed to do? I'm trying to work. What the hell are we going to do? Because he tried coming in the door yesterday. I want her arrested for impersonating the process serves.
These papers that you printed up are fake.
Yes.
Sorry, did he actually make it to Josh's door? Had he ever actually like approached his porch before? Was Ben there when they got up to talking to the Mormon guy? Oh, those were cops? Cool. So yeah, as far as I'm aware, Ben has never been even close to Josh's house. He was in a car ready to approach, but he never actually made it. That's my understanding. So the fact that Josh already is like, he tried to get in the door, last time, he is just so much stretching his story, and it's so inconsistent. I feel like Ben's story is pretty consistent. He's had to talk about the same subjects and the same experiences over and over and over again, and he's doing a pretty good job of it. And it's never like, wait, Ben said this last time and now he's saying this. But we see that so much with Josh. He's trying to keep up with his own story and it's not working. That is so funny.
1 billion, trillion, gazillion percent. Get arrested?
You're under arrest right now for stalking.
What's going on, internet? And welcome back to OnlyCops. This is our
this guy's name is Josh. That's going to be confusing.
5 on the reckless Ben situation. We have seen what went from pretty sketchy to outright illegal between the initial criminal trespass calls all the way
that was
to
super
the
loud. My
alleged
bad.
DWI and drug sniff. Shout out to all of my moderators who have taken the time to actually collate all of these videos. If you guys are here, we are offering up some law enforcement perspective on what's happening here, since there's a lot of cop involvement. Our goal here is
a lot
to
of cop
analyze
involvement
and see the legalities of kind of what they're doing and whether or not this conforms to really what the Constitution allows the government to do. I did it for a couple of years. There's a lot of people here on our channel that come from a law enforcement background, both locally, statewide, nationally, and then obviously internationally. We have a lot of people here. So we advocate here specifically on OnlyCops for good, ethical policing. This requires good tactics, good ethics, and then really, which is clearly maybe lacking here on the American Fork Police Department, an interest in public service. And here's our breakdown for this. If you didn't see the other 2 videos, I highly recommend you guys go back and watch that. I have only seen up to this point. We are watching this chronologically, so just let me know in the comment section below if I missed anything, and let's get started with this dumpster fire.
Yeah, seriously.
Hello. Were you guys over here knocking on the door?
No.
No? Okay. What are you guys doing here?
So we are in a court case with them. We have to serve them legal papers.
Hi,
so
swooning nerd.
Waiting for them to get home so we can serve them.
Do you know who you're serving?
Joshua Johnson.
Okay. Who do you guys work for?
Myself.
Yourself? You're just here to serve him papers?
Yeah, well, she's the process server. You have to be unaffiliated with the case to serve.
Okay, so you're the one trying to serve?
Yes.
Okay, do you have an ID or anything like that on you?
For what?
Did he say for what?
Yeah, this is what the court requires us to do if we want to take him to court. We have to serve him. Did he call the cops because he doesn't want people to serve him, or?
I don't know. I haven't talked to him at all. So
yeah, my guess is he's usually pretty defensive. Like he does illegal things and then calls the cops on people. That's how he gets away with his crimes. You know, he has the police cover for him. So I'm assuming that's what's happening in this situation. He's like, if I call the cops on them, they can't serve me, and.
That's interesting that the black screen is on there now.
Queens Creek?
I just moved here, actually.
Where'd you move to?
Salem.
Salem? Okay. Here, I'll give that back to you. What's your address in Salem?
My address? I don't
what?
I love how he's saying for what? For what? Like, yeah, there really are.
Is it consensual contact at best?
There really are so many things where it's just like, what? Why are they doing that? Really overcomplicating it. That's so interesting to hear an ex-cop actually address that or acknowledge that.
Can't really compel her to provide any of this information, to be honest. Also don't know what the reason for contact. I mean,
Gotcha.
Yeah, making sure she's over 18 makes sense.
So you're saying you...
I'll pause it here real quick just to point out that if you're going to do what's called a consensual contact, which
Oh,
means they are
sorry. They have the ID in hand. I was thinking that they still just had the contract or the the service papers. That absolutely makes sense. If they had her ID out, they would black it out. My apologies.
not detained, it's important legally to make sure that you've made that distinction. Hey, you're not detained. I don't have any lawful authority to keep you here. I just have a couple questions, and that's perfectly lawful. I mean, that anybody can do that, right? Theoretically, law enforcement or not. However, when you're in full uniform, when you're in a marked police car, if you are interacting with somebody in a law enforcement capacity, especially you're starting to compel people or ask people for their identification, these are all questions that typically require reasonable suspicion of a crime. He asked if they approached the door. They said no. They didn't even have to say that much, in my personal opinion. But without distinguishing that this is not a detention, I would argue even if something does come from this, that's potentially complicated. If not, potentially perceived as official oppression.
Can I see those papers?
Interesting.
Yeah.
So this is what you're trying to serve them with?
Yes. That's required by the court that we have. I wish we could just send them an email. I wish we could just send them a phone call, or the court could send it to them, but this is what we're required to do from the United States court.
I don't know anything about civil law, so I don't know how legitimate this is.
This is like the third time he's called the cops now on us because he thinks if I just call the cops on me, he can get away with it, but we're showing him like we're not, you know, let him get away with his crimes. So.
You okay if I give these papers to him?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, hang tight. We're gonna finish up some things on our end.
Okay, we might need you to fill out some documents later then as proof of service.
It would be nice if I could know when he's going to talk about something.
Just give me 1 minute.
Okay.
Law enforcement's not required to help in a civil proceeding. Literally, the whole point of civil proceedings is to not involve the police, right? There's very few exceptions to when law enforcement will. This typically happens in the form of like a civil standby. So let's say you're in a domestic dispute of some sort. Nobody's laid hands on each other, but you guys are wanting to separate like property real quick and you don't want any issues to happen. Obviously, that could be contentious. Law enforcement will sit by and allow parties to exchange that just to make sure nothing bad happens or no false accusations come out of it. It's like a fail-safe. On serving paperwork, this is probably never going to fall under the law enforcement purview. He could do it just to be a homie. And to resolve this situation, I do think it would act as a good de-escalation technique to be like, hey, the paperwork served. You have no reason to contact this guy. You've already been criminally trespassed from the property.
Right, but he
What's
did
done is
it.
done. Let's be done with this whole thing so we're not
gonna be
wasting
mad.
law enforcement resources on this mess. But that's not required by the state.
Yeah, I'm sorry we're wasting your time here. I feel bad.
It's all right. I understand.
Water's flipping out. My wife is scared. What am I supposed to do? I'm trying to work. I'm on a call. She's like, I think they're coming in. All right. What the hell are we going to do? Because he tried coming in the door yesterday. What do I do?
Okay, sorry. I didn't catch this last time, and maybe I just didn't hear him ask if he approached the door. But apparently, Ben said, no, we did not approach the door. Josh specifically says he tried to come to the door yesterday, and the cop should already start seeing, okay, somebody's not telling the truth, but instead of the cop taking Josh's side for whatever reason, he should have let that be not his decision, but started just kind of getting information rather than being like, oh yeah, we're gonna get this guy in jail for you. I don't know. I feel like this cop really could have pulled some good information from both of them maybe instead of arresting Ben. You know what I mean? It's just kind of crazy. It's definitely just taking one person's word over somebody else, and that's not how it should work, in my opinion. Yeah, everybody could get on with their day. The police officer just served the papers, and then they just went through the process, the legal process that's set up. That is not perfect, but maybe it could have been a little bit smoother. Very fascinating.
Again,
What do I do?
I'm not sure what to do on your end. I don't know the full story, but we're going to look into some of these previous cases and see what we can do on our end just to hopefully resolve this for you.
Will you call the Sandy Police Department, and I don't know if you guys can coordinate? And maybe they've got some statutes that they're working on?
Well, that's going to be a different city, so we'll deal with what we can right here. But again, I'm going to look into those previous cases and I'll be back with you, okay?
So I've been this first officer, Officer Tonga, I've been sending him all the things because he's
Oh,
like,
I
"Just
went
send
like
it
this to
here."
make fun of him, and then I just stayed here.
They've got a case in Provo that they're working on because they've gone to businesses in Provo and harassed them.
Right. So
Where?
it's
How
irrelevant
do
to
they
this
know? I mean,
situation.
They're doing a little bit
true,
some kind
irrelevant.
of
Interesting.
interruption of commerce. Does that sound like a crime?
Doesn't sound like a crime here. There's something real common you'll hear in law enforcement, like interviews. So my job is to deal with what's happening right here, right now. Doesn't mean that you can't make an outcry statement or like, hey, I was a victim of something, right? Or a victimization happened.
Okay.
But I can only deal with what's happening here within my jurisdiction. So whatever's happening in these other cities or areas is completely irrelevant to this investigation that I'm doing with here. What happened last year, unless the statute of limitations are still there for something, I'm probably not getting involved in that. It is a very common standard operating procedure to just be like, sorry, dog, like that's outside of the purview of this investigation. His statement about
interesting.
him trying
Okay.
to go into the house could be problematic. I talked about this in the comment section in the other videos. He should have proof. If he's got a Ring camera, he should have proof if they are actually trying to gain entry into his house. That could be criminal in nature. But the fact that he didn't ask any follow-up questions on that kind of tells me that they probably either know that's not true or they don't realize it's a crime, which would be kind of a wild take. All this other stuff's very, very irrelevant to this. This is all happening outside of jurisdiction. You'll have to handle that with those different law enforcement agencies, not mine.
That's interesting. He was going to keep talking. Sorry. That gives me a different perspective on that first police officer that we deal with in this whole series. The guy who was basically kicking Ben off of the property and he got called for a trespass violation. But then Ben was trying to tell this police officer, hey, this company actually stole a lot of Legos and that's why I'm here. And now they're wanting me to get off, but I'm here because they committed a crime. And the police officer is like, doesn't matter. You just got to get off of the property. If that's like how procedure works, where if you are called to handle a crime, a specific crime, that is the crime you are handling and you're not handling anything else. It has to be some other process. But I do think that that police officer could have been more helpful in like, hey, you're going to need to talk to so-and-so about this file, whatever. Like he probably could have guided them in the right direction if he actually cared. I don't know how that works. This is really interesting to talk to, to hear from an police officer. I wonder what that police officer in the beginning should have done instead of just brushing it off. Something else could have been done. I've never heard that before.
An
Interesting.
attempt to bias. It is very
Because they
common.
keep going to that business and harassing reporters.
Attempts to bias.
With the business.
Yeah.
That's
And that's
outside
what
of the
they've
scope
done
of this
with our
investigation.
business.
Commercial obstruction.
Commercial obstruction.
Outside of the scope of this investigation.
It also is interesting. Sorry, I'm pausing a lot. Josh, it really seems like he's trying to find anything that Ben has done that's illegal. That sounds illegal, right? That must be illegal. That's got to be illegal. He's just trying to convict Ben with anything he can find. How can we get this person in jail? That is a big red flag, in my opinion. There's more behind it than, oh, this person's harassing me or something. No information given to Ben when he was arrested. I mean, I feel like multiple times. Very
He's
interesting.
from California.
Good point.
Lives in California. So he flew out here to get YouTube content because we closed the store. We put the store out of business. So now he's got no more YouTube content. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's why he's doing it.
I'll show you the kinds of things he does at the
Goodness.
store.
Does he have anything that he's recorded here that he's put on YouTube?
I don't know.
I can see that.
Why don't they look
follow
at the
him.
sign and what it
Clearly
says?
you follow him because you have all this information about it. Would putting a sign up on someone else's business, oh yeah, that's going to be potentially a crime. Blocking and interrupting business kind of thing that they're
Right.
discussing would be
All
a
of that
crime.
stuff, like the putting the signs up and just kind of the more trolly parts in my mind were a little over the top. And I can see how that could bring more attention to it, which is, it's good. They're trying to get like public attention because that will most likely actually get it somewhere. But it's definitely an immature way of doing things and not necessary in my opinion. But I mean, I don't know if there's so much to it that maybe that was like the best thing that they could have done for this case. I have no idea.
Potentially either a city ordinance violation or like a legitimate like misdemeanor typically in most of those situations or most of those cases. If they were trying
There we
to
go.
bring up like a pattern of behavior that still doesn't have anything to do with why he's trying to serve. Ultimately, the goal
Yep,
here
that's
is
crazy.
to serve him civil paperwork. He's not putting signs on his house. He's not trying to enter it. He's not trying to do any of those things. Regardless of their history, this only amounts to the criminal trespass warning, which they gave already, and none of this really pertains to the investigation as it stands.
So he's come to my house.
That's so
Sunday,
fascinating.
Monday, now Tuesday.
He's like, stick to the
So
point.
he keeps sending people to my house, right? Driving by, taking
but
pictures.
he's getting the
taking pictures
cops
in the
on their
windows, knocking on the
side.
door. That kid's probably part of it. I get his info maybe. My wife thinks he's not, but I just don't trust anybody. Maybe he's not.
At last.
I mean, what would you do? Then he got my sister's address in Pleasant Grove and went and pounded on her door and tried to get YouTube content from her. And she's like, dude, I get nothing from you.
Did they go to his sister's house?
You know what I mean? She don't know anything about it.
Continuously knocking on the guy's door, potentially going to other family members' doors. I could see that fitting in some states for the criteria of harassment. Stalking is going to be a bit more of a stretch. Stalking is going to specifically require likely some sort of threat or being placed in harm's way. And again, if the goal is to serve civil paperwork, I mean, if you could charge somebody trying to serve you with civil paperwork for stalking, I mean, you could sue the people that you owe a car note to, or the people that you might owe taxes to, or I don't know, medical bills to, or whatever. I don't understand the criteria for civil court. I am not a tort law attorney, so you're going to have to go shout out to somebody in the comment section if they can go specify how you're supposed to serve somebody paperwork. However, I do think going about it this way is potentially problematic, and depending on the jurisdiction, criminal in nature. But so far as I understand it, harassment, as he's trying to articulate it, isn't a crime, specifically there in Utah. And then everything that he's saying, he's banging on the door or he's trying to open it or whatever, he hasn't articulated a threat or a reason to feel that you're in reasonable fear of serious bodily injury, or even bodily injury for that matter. Is it annoying? Sure. I get solicitors for hail damage every single time a storm rolls through here, but like law enforcement, until it equals up to a crime, law enforcement has no interest in this, nor should they. This is ultimately commerce and people doing stuff. The kids selling Girl Scout cookies.
Otherwise, missionaries would be arrested all the time. Continuing.
Or whatever is effectively the same thing. They're going to knock on your door a bunch of times. It's not criminal in nature. Annoying, but not criminal in nature.
Annoying, for sure.
What do you want done today?
As much
Besides,
and very wrong.
as much as you humanly possibly can.
You want her trespass?
No. I want them for stalking.
Okay. That's something I can work through, but for right now, you want her trespassed?
Yes. That's all you can do.
Right now, I can screen charges, but with them saying they're trying to serve papers,
He's shaking his head.
that puts me in a little bit of a bind. I understand you have a history with.
Okay.
I understand you have a history with him, but for right now, again, I'm open to screening charges through our attorney.
Okay.
That's what Ammon, the CEO of Bricks and Minifigs, said stalking was. So he sent that.
Fair, I guess. But if he would just take the papers, they wouldn't have to stalk him. But obviously, that's, not a really great thing to say either.
Statute for this to know whether or not it
Awful cat
it actually meets the elements, but I have doubts. He's shout out to this officer. This is one of the first good examples of good policing. He's establishing and basically explaining to them that we don't have any lawful authority here to press that. I'll investigate it. Like, if you're complaining about a crime, I'm going to do my best to investigate it. But given that he's got a lawful reason to be interacting with you, right, even if it's through an intermediary, he's trying to serve paperwork. This isn't going to work under stalking. So that's actually a very good job from that law enforcement. He's the first one to kind of step in and be like, well, like, I understand that you're complaining about it, but this doesn't really meet the elements because he has a lawful reason to be interacting with you. This isn't for...
Interesting.
Again, he's trying to paint it as content. Is it content? Of course it's content. Reckless Ben is trying to make some level of content out of it. But from a legal standpoint, just because he's making content while he's doing it doesn't invalidate his rationale behind the actual conduct itself.
2 or more incidences.
Good force is done.
Commits stalking either intentionally or knowingly, engages in a course of conduct directed at a specific individual, knows or is reckless Ben as to whether the course of conduct would cause a reasonable person to fear. Oh yeah, we already looked at this at violates a stalking injunction, blah, blah, blah. That's so funny. Yeah, they brought up these points in the American Fork Police Department address. Very interesting.
Yeah, that's something I'm I'm more than willing to screen.
Yeah,
Okay.
would cause a
Okay, actor stalking intentionally, knowingly engages in course of conduct directly specify the individual as a reckless course of conduct would cause a reasonable person to fear for their own safety or for a third person or suffer emotional distress, violates the stalking injunction. Yeah, the reasonable fear, and again, there's going to be some caveats to this. Like he might have reasonable fear of being in legal trouble, but that's not. He's not presenting a weapon. He's not saying I'm going to beat you up. He's
Right.
not
Even
saying
though
any
they're
of these
claiming
things. And
he
even if
is,
did,
which is
if it's
crazy.
conditional in nature, like hey,
Reasonable
if you don't answer the
person.
door,
I
I'm
know
going to
what
come
goes
beat you
into
up or
that.
something like that. That's all conditional in nature. So that's not going to count even in and of itself. Stalking is actually really hard to prosecute, to be honest.
I'm gonna go talk with him.
That makes sense.
Give him his paper back, since you do not want this.
Can I
Correct?
just peek at it?
What was that?
Can I peek at it?
It kind of puts me in a little bit
All
of
right,
a
never
bind.
mind. It's fake. There's no
Yes.
lawsuit anyway.
Okay. So anyway, I'm
my
gonna give
gosh.
this back to him and trespass her.
Because here's the thing. Like, think about this logically. Do you think a process server would show up with a guy that's been harassing a YouTuber to serve
irrelevant.
papers in
That's
Utah?
irrelevant.
Exactly.
I don't know the whole situation.
Think about logic. This
Irrelevant.
guy's come to my house 3 days
Irrelevant.
in a row. He's harassing people, and he's just going to be in the same car with a process server? No.
Is he in the car right now?
We are definitely seeing what the fuck? We're seeing more footage here than we did in the last video that we watched. I don't think I heard the cop's response to that. He said, I don't know everything about the situation. And that's a very mature thing to respond with. You know, this guy is trying to get in his head. I wish that Ben would have, included that part. It is nice to see that sometimes the cops are not completely just like bowing to this guy. The fact that he said, I don't know everything about the situation, it was a relief for me to see him say that, because Josh is trying so hard to get him just to obey everything that he says. I think that, Josh still has a pretty good hold in general, but that was nice to hear.
It's just not, that's fake. It is a lie. She's impersonating a process server.
Not a crime.
That is not a real lawsuit. If it was, it would go to a law firm, and then the law firm would send out a process server. And see, that process server is not going to be friends with the guy that's been harassing.
Is that true?
I'll talk to her some more about that. But for right now, you want her trespass. You don't want him anywhere near the property, and I'll start looking at charges for stalking.
Yes, stalking and
And this all stems from the store in
Oregon. Yeah, I showed him a video.
Interesting.
They sent a lady in, and the lady's like, "Oh, I'm gonna murder you," to Amanda, the manager. And Amanda is she's a tough lady. And Amanda's like, "All right, get to it." And the lady, got scared. Obviously, she didn't kill her, right? They fake signed Amanda's signature, and they said, "Oh, well, you said."
So do I
They didn't
definitely think
fake
there's
sign,
some problematic
but
issues. Again,
we know
I
that
don't know anything about the
situation.
civil law side of this. There's probably huge issues with the civil side of this case. On the criminal one, sorry, dog, like none of this meets the elements of the offense for a crime yet. And again, when you have,
Interesting.
I'm not saying we don't want to sit here. I think this officer's doing a very good job of just letting this guy vent and talk, which is a professional courtesy that you
Thank you,
offer
guys.
to anybody that's theoretically a victim of a crime. In this instance, he's not currently the victim of anything. Outside of being mildly annoyed, which a lot of us can be. The behavior that he's exhibiting is someone that's trying to, again, convince or sell the officer on this idea. It still doesn't
Exactly.
raise to the degree. It's kind of like a loud noise complaint. Is it annoying? Yes. Is there a time when it becomes potentially criminal in nature? Sure, I can issue a citation, but that's all I can do. At best, I can issue a citation. That's it. I can't arrest them. I can't force them to turn it down. Is it annoying? Absolutely. But like, there's very real limitations on what law enforcement can get involved in for good reason, because we don't need them being the Gestapo, just kind of shaking everybody down. But just because it's inconvenient for you doesn't mean it raises it to the elements of the offense of a crime, which is the only time that law enforcement can get involved.
"You owe us money."
But
so
he
write
feels
the checks,
entitled.
Blah blah blah. That's forgery, vandalism.
Maybe, potentially.
And they went to corporate headquarters on Monday.
And even if all of those things were true, that's all in Oregon, not in Utah. So that's completely irrelevant to, again, their investigation.
Right.
So Provo's working on a case too for whatever we said.
He's like, cool.
Okay,
Anyway.
That makes things a little more clear. He has no
He's
association.
a YouTuber. He's just trying to get content.
Okay.
He's
That's
crushed
fine.
there,
I'll be right
my
back.
friend.
Yep.
He is crushed there. Here I am.
Yeah, process server's really gonna ride with the YouTuber.
You never know.
Like, the kid delivered the fake UPS, the fake package to me. I'm looking at him, I'm like, you look like you're 16. I'm like, you work for, you gotta look at his hat UPS. He's like, yeah. Sign here. Man, I'm like, what the heck? Then I was sitting there just thinking about it. I went to church and came back. I'm like, oh, I bet
I
this
went
is
to
a
church and came back.
scammer, you know? So I called the police. I'm like, dude,
Hailheidihere.
I want you to come look at this fake package. And then they started, 2 cars pulled up, and then the cop showed up on Sunday. And then yesterday, the kid tried to come in the house and the door.
That's an accusation.
No, yeah,
And then
he
today,
did.
they're taking pictures.
So and you can actually see it in this
So he claims that that's why he called the cops was because of the ducks. That's very interesting. I wonder how much of that is true. I don't know.
video. There is a Ring camera present here, claiming that someone is trying. Now, saying it off the cuff isn't necessarily an issue, but if you're calling law enforcement trying to claim that a crime is occurring, and I have evidence that it didn't, because this is very easily solved by that Ring camera, right? That could be that's the same.
That's bad.
As saying, this happens a lot in domestic disputes. My significant other hit me when they didn't hit you, and it's enticing law enforcement to get involved and take a law enforcement action. There is false report to law enforcement crimes like that. That is a crime in all 50 states.
Yeah,
How
which
you
is a
meet
good
the
thing.
elements of that's going to be different from state to state, but generally, I said something that was not true to try to entice law enforcement to take a law enforcement action, which is arresting them, pressing charges, the whole nine. That turns out you lied about that. That is a huge, huge, huge problem.
Yes.
That's a felony, where a lot of this other stuff is potentially misdemeanors at best.
I'm assuming Josh is kind of.
Are they gonna do
explaining
anything about that,
what's
though?
Going on and what's happening there.
You not home?
What was that?
You not home?
He does not want the paper. So
He's not one of the papers?
here's that back for you.
Okay.
I love how Ben has a little smile. He's like, that's not how that works.
We're on the property though.
Yeah. So who went on the property?
None of us did.
You guys, no one went on the property.
To be provable.
Okay. Why is he saying that you guys went on the property?
Because he wants us arrested, so he has nothing to report.
Okay. But he does want you trespassed. Regardless, he doesn't need a reason as to why.
So how do we serve him then?
You got to go through the court, man. You got to.
We did go through the court and they said we have to serve him in person.
Okay. I'm not sure
Yeah, I
what
don't know
this
how any
is.
of
I've
this
never
works.
seen something like that.
That is
be
hard.
honest with-
That like the court and the police force are not on the same page and don't know the same information and have the same procedures in mind. That's so difficult. I feel like there should be a little more communication or information, education. That's a really weird disconnect.
These are court papers.
Okay. It doesn't have a judge's name or anything like that on it.
Because it hasn't gotten to the judge yet. So this is serving him, and then we'll go to the court, and then the judge will be there. So the
No
judge
idea
will
how
be
any of this
involved
works.
until we're in court.
Nor is it important to this
So
officer.
with this being a civil issue between the two of you, what is your association with this?
He stole a bunch of money from me.
Okay. How exactly did he do that?
So we had $200,000 worth of Legos in the store,
Okay.
and it's the world's largest Star Wars Lego collection set.
So I'm a little bit confused about why Ben is saying he stole money from me. Is it because he did the lawsuit kind of thing? So he bought the Legos from Brian, and so now they're technically his or something, and so now he can say he's keeping my Legos, but he didn't steal from Ben. I would try and be more careful about the way that he talked about things. I purchased them, but he is not handing them over. That's something that he could maybe say and won't come back to bite him. Little iffy.
And
Explains everything.
Again,
Yeah, restraining
this is a civil issue between the two of you.
restraining or ownership.
and we're
Right now,
we're following instructions.
I understand that. Right now, he doesn't want anyone coming on his property. He doesn't want you. He doesn't want anyone that you
Yeah,
know.
of course he doesn't want no criminal wants to be served court papers. Yeah, that's to be expected. Yeah.
So it's gonna have to be something that you're gonna have to work out through the court. I don't know if it's gonna be garnishment or something along
Why don't they call the
We have to
court
serve him
now?
before we can do garnishment. Yeah.
So,
Why don't they call them together?
Yeah, and this is what we talked to the court. And they
so
said
again, he's saying that you guys are coming up taking photos.
I would love to have a civil attorney that has some understanding of how it's supposed to work explain this, because this is
I'm sure
completely
there's
out of
somebody
my
out there.
level of expertise. What is within my level of expertise is this officer, bro, be more like this guy. He understands that this is a very muddy situation. He's like, you know what? I don't think I got a crime, but clearly this is creating 911 calls. So let me at least document as much as I possibly can, talk to both parties in a professional and courteous way.
Right, I
and be
agree
done
with
it.
that.
You know what I mean? I did my part.
But
to
how
go
did he get
mediate
arrested?
As best as I possibly can. He did it in a professional way. I as much as I've had very harsh things to say about the American Police Department, this guy's a great example of exactly how I would expect an officer to handle such an odd situation like this. He's not just because this guy's like, I want you to jack him up and press all these charges. He's like, well, it doesn't really meet the elements of the offense. That he found a nice way of saying that, right? Yeah. I'll document it for you, but like, I don't have what I believe meets probable cause for that crime. And then he's trying to mediate here. He's like, I don't know anything about these papers. They look kind of weird, look kind of sus, but just try to do it the most legal way possible. This isn't like preachy dad advice. He's just saying, my recommendation as a representative of this law enforcement agency is you do whatever the courts are telling you to do. Just be careful about the way that you're doing it. I don't have anything for you.
He's going to say whatever he can. He's going to lie to you guys in order
People
to
lie to me
get
all
us
the time.
arrested. So that way he doesn't have to pay for what he stole.
Okay. So again, figure out what you got to do for the court. He doesn't want.
Yeah,
He
so
wanted you trespass, so don't come back to the property.
And
okay?
we did that. So we did exactly what you said. We figured out with the court. The court said we have to come here and serve these legal papers.
That's with you in the court.
So I would just go back to the court, talk to them, explain your situation.
Yeah, we did that.
Figure
And they
something
said,
out.
Keep doing it.
Regarding that.
Yeah, I guess keep going back and forth.
The court said.
I don't think
I
they
don't
would
believe
do
that.
Give me a court order that says that.
They said we just have to keep trying.
I love how
So,
this
I'm
other
almost
officer is just like there.
If you do like certified mail, like where you have to sign for the mail that you receive, that counts as service. I don't believe a judge or a court would tell you to camp in front of somebody's residence.
That's wait. This is like my third or fourth court case. This happens every single time because the criminal thinks that they can do this to get away with the crime. So this is what the court has always told. This is like my fourth time going through this.
I don't hate the certified mail suggestion.
So yeah.
Try something different because it's not working.
Yeah, well, it's worked every time for me, but I always win. I win every single time.
So are you
but,
doing this personally, or did you do it through an attorney?
personally, I am my own attorney.
You're what?
I'm my own lawyer.
Okay.
I'm my own
So-
lawyer.
Not a good idea.
I'm my own lawyer.
Again, it doesn't
don't
look
recommend
good
that.
when you've been trespassed and you have someone that you obviously know, a friend, coming here that you're saying is a process server,
Yeah.
trying to serve papers.
Well, I think it looks exactly how we're supposed to do it legally. This is the legal way to do it.
Well, we have 2 or 3 incidents where we
Yeah,
have.
well,
Interesting.
So
I would want. I
the
mean,
instance-
I know that this ex-police officer is saying that, like, if you're called to handle something, you handle that situation, and anything outside of that, that's not why you were called out there. But I just feel like maybe the police officer can be like, hey, call the court right now, and maybe we can all work through this together or something, you know? I do feel bad for Ben because if he's been going back and forth with the court already, that would be really frustrating. But I guess giving the court new information saying, what do we do now? And then the court can deal with it from there. Definitely calling back and forth would be annoying, but like maybe all call together. Maybe this can be the last call and then you can get the paper served in whatever way. This back and forth is very interesting. To me, I have the solution. I'll call the court together. Let's get this done.
because he's lying to you guys. He's making them incidents. We came to do a good faith conversation, which is required by the courts before you can get a court case approved. So we did that. Called the cops on us.
Call the court.
He lied to you guys saying
Right
he
now.
had heroin on us. And we did a 3-hour search of the car yesterday. We found no heroin in the car. He's going to make up any lie he can to get us arrested. He's a lawyer. He's a pretty high up lawyer, so he knows exactly what to say to trigger you guys, to get you on his side.
Parked outside next to his house.
Then we're
They're just
following
repeating the same
the
story.
legal procedure of how to serve someone court papers. Is what we're doing.
So figure out a different avenue. Again, talk to the court about what you need to do. But for right now, he doesn't want either one of you on his property. Okay?
Okay.
Okay.
Well, we're not going on his property, so.
Do you have any questions
Well,
for me?
They were.
I guess what happens if we don't do it a different way?
What do you mean? If you,
Because you said
Should I
we have to
still
go
hang
about
out?
this a different way.
so I would say go through the legal process, find an
what we're
actual
doing.
process server.
She is an actual process server.
And what is your guys' relationship?
I just met her today.
Okay. Do you have any ID, any papers?
I
that
wonder
show
how
you're
they
a
did meet.
process server?
Did he just like
So
find
anyone can
someone
be a
on the
process
street?
server. You have to be 18 years old and you have to be not affiliated with the case. So she is not affiliated with the case. She was over 18 years old. That qualifies as a process server.
This being a civil issue between the two of you,
Yes.
you guys need to
We're
figure
handling
that out.
civilly, yes.
Okay. If it means that you need to go through the mail or
The
something
officer
like
is
that
trying.
in order to serve
This is very
him,
interesting to
then
get
that's the way
more
to do it.
of the
But,
footage.
Obviously, something's not working here. If you've been here this many times. Okay.
Well, it's working for us. We haven't been arrested yet. And she's up to
Yes.
papers. She's about to go
Is
to
the
jail.
keyword.
So it's working out for us.
Okay. Do you have any other questions for me?
No, I guess.
Okay. All right. So you two are understand trespass. Don't come onto the property. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Have a good rest of your day.
So that'd be the end of this for them, at
Okay.
least. I kind of similar to the conversation I was having about the they're
Right,
trying to
Dance,
come
I
into my
agree.
house. If that should be a provable thing. The accusation of heroin possession, which is wildly out of like left field, if that was that actually did happen, again potentially falls under.
I
that
hate muted body
actual
cams. We
crime,
talked about this.
which is providing false information to law enforcement, especially if it's in an attempt to entice. In the same way that they're saying that this lady can't really serve the paperwork and you need to find a different tangential way to go about serving this paperwork if it is indeed legitimate paperwork because you're related to the case, that same lever can be used against Josh here because he's close to this case. Clearly, he's filing criminal or he's requesting criminal trespass. He's requesting all these crimes being done. And then he's saying this whole thing about heroin. Like he's got a vested, motivated reason to try to get these guys arrested. And then he's feeding law enforcement. I don't know if this is true or not. So I have yet to see that claim be made. I'm assuming there's some documentation on that. If there's documentation that he's saying that and it wasn't true, that's pretty sus.
Sadly, they weren't able to get the first 2 days where I was accused of having heroin on me.
She's been trespassed. Talking with him, he's telling me a different story. Again, I don't know all the specifics of your case. He is very adamant that he wants to serve you with papers. Okay.
That's fake. That's
here nor
illegal. You can't pretend to be a process server.
So
You can't. It's illegal.
I've explained to him.
Shut up, Josh.
That
Shut up,
you
Josh.
don't want to be served papers. He's got to figure something out. If it's, again, I don't know if there's an actual case right now
There's
in
not.
Oregon.
It's a Class A misdemeanor to impersonate a process server in the state of Utah.
So right
I
now,
want her arrested for impersonating a process server.
so
Shut
right
up,
now,
Josh.
I've explained that to them.
I'd be curious to see what the statute for it. It is a misdemeanor. It's also a misdemeanor
Loyal.
that happened maybe outside of the process. She did verbally admit to saying, yeah, I'm a process server. He's claiming you only have to be 18 or older and not associated with the case. This guy's claiming there's some sort of license tied to it. It's not really a law enforcement objective, and you can request that somebody gets arrested for something, even if it is legitimately a crime. Again, people speed by us, which is a misdemeanor, all the time. But it is technically up to the officer to decide whether or not it's worth, if the juice is worth the squeeze, to go take some enforcement action on it. Dude, there's misdemeanors happening. There's felonies happening all the time. Like all the time. Typically on a felony, law enforcement's going to get involved, especially if it's a violent felony. But dude, on misdemeanors, like the likelihood that law enforcement gets involved, we don't do it on behest of someone. Someone just doesn't request that law enforcement actions be done, and we do it. That's if anything, that would be borderline an issue on like bribery and conspiracy and all that other stuff.
Right.
I understand that he would like them to do that. For me,
That's kind of what I
because
thought
it's
was going on.
Technically a misdemeanor outside my presence, even though verbally she confirmed she was trying to be a process server. He's claiming that. I was like, this seems problematic already. Like, this seems very retaliatory in nature. I'm gonna take some documentation. I already have her identified as who she is. We'll decide whether or not the DA's office even wants this case, just because it takes time and energy from the courts to process, and to what end. This is basically a civil. These are all misdemeanors coming out of a civil dispute, which really law enforcement doesn't have any interest in being involved in. So,
He explained that he needs to go a whole different route about this and to not come onto your property as well as her.
No. I can't just go and pretend. I can't go print up fake documents and go try to process serve people.
Why is
That's
he
illegal.
telling the police officer
Have
this?
you two been to court before?
No, he can't. No, he's a YouTuber.
Okay, you've
That
never
doesn't
been
matter.
to court with him.
No,
So these papers that he printed up are
fake.
fake.
Yes, 1 billion, trillion, gazillion percent.
wow.
Okay, never been to court with him or
Never
anyone
been to court.
associated with
Nobody's ever been to court.
Okay.
He's a YouTuber.
Okay, what
Yes.
was the reason behind your store
Brilliant
closing this
billion
month?
percent.
His harassment.
He's
and
too
vandalism.
confident.
Yeah.
I freaking hate it.
So on your own accord, you guys
On my
should-
own accord, yes.
Okay, I've explained that to him. Right now,
I don't have-
I'll look into.
Did you take pictures of those things?
Right, yes, I got the case number that he's referring to, and I'll check with the court, see if it's a valid civil case that he's trying to push through, and we'll go at.
Oh, Josh didn't like that.
Again, I don't know.
Hold on. Did you see Josh shake his head when he said, I'm going to check with the court and verify?
And I'll check
Look at
with
his
the court,
face.
see if it's a valid civil case that he's trying to push through, and we'll go at
He
it
hates
way,
that.
okay? Again,
he
I don't
hates
know all
that.
the specifics. I don't know why.
Oh,
this whole
he
thing
hates
is
that, and I
happening
love
between
it.
the two of you. I'm getting two different stories from
Right.
each one.
What
of
is he possibly saying?
He's saying that he had $200,000
That was
worth of
awesome.
Star Wars Legos.
He didn't. No, he did not.
Right.
Never had
So,
that.
so officer, again, this is Ammon. I'm with.
What was he denying that he did before? Sorry, I was laughing at his face.
Again, I don't know all the specifics. I don't know why this whole thing has been happening between the two of you. I'm getting two different stories from
Right.
each one.
What
of you.
is he possibly saying?
He's saying that he had $200,000 worth of Star Wars Legos.
He didn't. No, he did not.
He didn't.
Right.
Never had
So,
that.
so officer,
Never had.
again, this is.
But he had nothing
Ammon,
else to
I'm
say
with
about
the-
it.
I'll be
Just-
honest, I
nope.
wouldn't be interested in hearing the rest of this. I don't have a law
Anyway.
enforcement thing. I'm not taking law enforcement action. Here's the report number. I'm out, Girl Scout. I worked in a really busy city.
Hi, Flex.
This is a huge waste of
you.
taxpayer dollars, in my opinion. So time on call was a thing that we were concerned about. So we would try to
Oh.
process the call as quickly as we could. Obviously, we want to
Interesting.
provide a level
Okay.
of customer service to the people asking
See, that sucks.
for law enforcement stuff. But if I realize there's nothing I can do here legally, I had to find a way to escape because there's probably 911 calls pending. Now, to my understanding, American Fork is a pretty chill place, so maybe they ain't got nothing else going on and they're just trying to make sure they're doing their due diligence. But why am I even talking to
Probably.
the CEO, in my opinion?
What's happened is we had a former franchisee that entered into an invalid consignment agreement with a completely separate person. That person sold their Lego sets and didn't pay the person that they entered. And this has nothing to do with Mr. Schneider. Mr. Schneider is just a YouTuber that got a hold of the story and then went to this guy and said, hey, if I can harass these guys, and if I can do some stuff and get some money out of them, will you pay me some of that money? And that's what they're trying to do, is the individual who actually owes the money left the United States. They were one of our franchisees. They were terminated as a franchisee for violating all sorts of rules. They then fled to Europe somewhere.
Nice.
And so we've been trying to deal with this situation. We've been trying to help the person up in Oregon, but unless, because
We've been trying to help the person up in Oregon. Sure you have.
we found out later that they've been all working
Interesting.
together to try and force the money out of us. So we've had our attorneys working on it. We've been in contact with the Marion County Sheriff's Department, the Marion County District Attorney.
The money has to come
They're
from
advising
somewhere.
This is all up in Oregon. And then they started flying down here, coming to our corporate offices, and now they're heading to our staff and other individuals' personal residences to just harass and continue to try and extort money out of them. And so there's already a case in Provo because they've been passing fraudulent documents up in Oregon. They created a fake contract, forged a manager's signature up
Right.
there, threatened to kill her, all sorts of things. And all of this while he's wearing glasses that have a camera in it. I don't know if you see the
Is he wearing the glasses today?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's wearing the glasses. Yeah, so
Yeah,
you're on
so
YouTube.
he's filming you guys, he's filming everything, and he's trying to
Sorry, who's wearing glasses? Nobody was wearing glasses in that car. Did the police officer just say, "Oh yeah, he's
have
wearing
a camera
glasses"?
in it. I don't know if you see the
Is he wearing the glasses today?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's wearing the glasses. Yes,
yeah.
you're on
so
YouTube.
he's filming you guys.
He was
he's
not
filming
wearing
everything, and he's trying to
glasses.
put all this
That's
stuff together
wild.
to put together
That's
an
annoying.
additional extortion attempt on us. So
Okay.
that's what they're doing. And he like if you go to his channel, Reckless Ben, that's what he does. He just goes around and he does stupid things and he harasses people and he chops and screws up all of this footage. And that's all he's trying to do is get footage right now. He's just trying to get more footage to put more videos out there to get more clicks and likes.
Thank you for the
He has
stretch.
nothing to do with this case other than he just
That was actually
and,
really
and
good.
he was the one who vandalized the store over the weekend, along with Mr. Mansell.
I don't know why they're explaining this. They're lawyers. They should know better.
They just know that, like, because that other person, that other party, they went bankrupt and don't have any money, They're just going after somebody else that they think they can just extort money out of.
Gotcha. Okay.
Gotcha.
Have you had
Anyway.
I guess the store had any sort of lawsuit filed against them by this Ben Schneider or the Mansell?
So again, going on the fraud that the Marion County District Attorney's office is looking into, they filed multiple small claims court claims against a completely separate entity, and they used fictitious names to do so. All of the cases were then dropped because of it. And but none of them were filed
Fictitious
against
names?
actual individuals.
Is that true?
They weren't filed against Josh or his entity. They weren't filed against us and our entity. They were filed against completely either fictitious entities or other entities. But they're fraudulently filing these with the state in order to make it look
I hate watching
legitimate when
Josh.
he puts his videos out on.
Sorry.
And he's done this at least, I think, in 2 other instances with individuals who ended up, filing lawsuits against him.
Okay.
So that's what we're working on right now with our own attorneys is going after him and his stuff. But no lawsuits have been filed against us, against Josh and his entity, or against any of the parties that he's claiming. But we're working on our lawsuit to file against him and all individuals that associate with him, including the former franchisees.
Okay, so having listened to this whole thing, and I went and did the painful thing of listening to it, let's say these are completely fraudulent, right? The lawsuits are bad. Again, I don't know anything about the civil side of this case, nor do I care. That still doesn't change anything about, even if these papers are nothing, this could be an I love you letter or whatever it is that he's trying to give him. That still doesn't meet the elements of the offense for stalking, which is really where this kind of gets down to is like, sure, he's there and sure, he's providing it. Now, he's been criminally trespassed. Obviously, he can't, none of these people that are individually trespassed
Not anymore.
can go back onto his property. But those are treated on an individual basis. Maybe you could have a conspiracy thing where because it's a group of them all in cahoots trying to harass the guy, maybe. But I mean, what's the difference in between that and I mean, you got the Mormon folks that go door to door to try to tell you, about their Lord and Savior. Like there is no difference. Even if I criminally trespassed the entire church, right? If someone were to come up to my door from that church that maybe doesn't know or whatever, I can't go and call it stalking. It'd be an easy one-to-one here where they don't have a real material reason to be interacting with me. And as much as I've made the complaint that I don't want these people coming up to my door, that doesn't validate or substantiate my claim for stalking. So
Brandon didn't dive into it, but she said, we've been trying to get this guy. He's we got other businesses and things that he's been. So they would love to get him. Love to get him. So
It might be worth calling Sandy if they want us to take him and hold him.
Oh,
Calling who?
I'll show you a picture from last night. So, love to get him. So
It might be worth calling Sandy if they want us to take him and hold him.
Sandy.
You should. I'll show you a picture from last night.
Because
so,
there was something that went down over
sat
there,
around my
supposedly.
partner's house, and it's on this other channel. Because they had undercovers and everything. They waited for him to show up, and then a kid came to buy. This isn't a bad guy. This kid came to buy an auto part from my partner's father-in-law, and then the police. They just pounced because they were thinking it was Ben and his team, right?
Nice.
So they pounced that kid, scared the crap out of him. Because they had set up. They're like, we're just waiting. Because they came here. Yeah. So they're like, we're waiting for them to come there. Because that's been their MO. They come here and then they go there. So they were fully expecting him to be there. And,
And this was when?
just last night.
Hang tight just one sec.
Yeah.
Well, Sandy's got charges. Do they have charges on him?
Yeah, so she said, Brandon didn't dive into it, but she said, we've been trying to get this guy. He's we got other...
So there's another agency apparently trying to arrest him, but they didn't get into the charges here. So that's crazy. But like pouncing on a random kid that's showing up to buy a part. It's called Positive Target Identification. PID is the acronym we use, and it's used for obviously arresting people. It's definitely used if you're going to use some level of force. It's important to use force on the correct person. So using force against some random kid showing up to your door, again, which is not a crime, it's kind of weird. Secret conversation.
Hi, I'm trying to speak with someone to verify if a case is, just verify if the case is real.
Yeah. We know that it was confirmed.
In the documents, we can see that Ben tried to sue an LLC known as L2 Bricks LLC. Unfortunately for Ben, this was the former owner of the store's LLC, and we can see it was dissolved in 2018 after a failure to renew.
This passes at least the sniff test. We don't expect law enforcement officers to be even interested, not to mention subject matter experts on what's happening in small claims court. He did go the extra mile to at least verify that this was indeed a court filing. And so he's like, well, he's trying to serve him papers, whether these are legitimate or not, I don't know. But this happens a lot with child custody agreements. Man, I tell you what, child custody agreements are all over the place, man. And you're like, this, you show me where it says you're supposed to have them on this day. You'd read it. Maybe you can call the courts if somebody's available. This is more of a day shift thing. At night, nobody's going to answer the phone. So you just kind of make a judgment call. And so.
All right, here's paperwork back. Oh, thank you. Okay. Kind of explain this whole thing to me one more time, the last couple days. Obviously, this isn't working.
Yeah, no, it will work if we keep doing it, yeah.
No.
It always has worked for us before,
So, right now, you're straddling the line of what we call stalking, okay?
But we're not stalking. We're here for, we're doing what the court tells us to do.
Regardless if you're to serve papers, if you continue to have people going up to his door and onto his residence,
then we're following
him
the
and
law,
his family feel unsafe, you are straddling that line of stalking.
Yeah, but
I don't think it's out of bounds to say you're straddling the line of stalking. However, the law as it applies, it's kind of like a pregnancy test, right? You either are or you're not. There is no happy medium. You're not like kind of, you either are or you're not. And so
with stalking, that's kind of a hard
is,
thing.
That is an important distinction of you either committing the crime of stalking or you're not. I would like to give him some criteria. If I believe that's the case, probably looked up the statute, looked at the elements of the offense in its entirety and said, well, you know, they're not there yet, but this is what would put them over. Maybe you give that and explain that, and what the law says is like, unless you want stalking to be applied to you, under this criteria, it would. Under this other criteria, it wouldn't.
the average person would feel unsafe by our behaviors. So I think he's feeling unreasonably unsafe. A reasonable person would.
Right, that's a very interesting.
Him and his family are not feeling safe with you sitting outside
That's
of your.
their fault.
Okay.
If they want to accept these papers, we won't sit here. That's their fault that they feel unsafe.
Regardless of if you're to serve papers or not, having multiple people that you just met come up here and try to serve papers
Well, I
for
can say
you.
the same thing. I feel unsafe trying to conduct business with him, and he calls the police on me to hide. I feel unsafe because of that. Because we had a 3-hour search in our car. He said we had heroin in our car yesterday.
I don't.
We had a 3-hour search in our car. That makes me feel unsafe. I think that's reasonable for me to feel unsafe. It's not reasonable for him to feel unsafe.
Well, you're the one putting yourself in this position by sitting outside his house.
Well, what's the alternative?
Putting up signs like that.
What's the alternative?
Can't be doing that.
Why not?
You cannot be putting up signs,
Why
AI
not?
photos of his face in
Why
front
not?
of his house with information like that.
Isn't that freedom of speech? Isn't
It's
that
called residential picketing.
Ooh.
It's a Class B misdemeanor.
But
So
I don't know about
Right
residential
now-
picketing.
right now, you're
I
just
don't
kind
know.
of digging yourself in this hole. I've explained to you, this is not working, okay? It didn't work in Sandy, it's not working here.
So residential
what's the alternative?
picketing.
Thank you.
I kind of want to look up the case for this in Utah. Targeted residential picketing means picketing with or without signs that is specifically directed or focused towards a residence. So one residence, which is this one, or one or more occupants of the residence, a portion of the sidewalk, street, or residence in the front or adjoining the residence. Oh, okay. Within 100 feet of the property line of a targeting that would fit. Unlawful to engage in targeted picketing. This section does not apply to an individual picketing at an individual's own residence. Picketing of a meeting place, assembly area. Yep, that's not what this is. General picketing. You can walk through a residence, but you just can't do it at someone's specific house. Unlawful to publish, post, disseminate, disclose. It's doxing. Oh, wow. Surprise, surprise. That's the first articulable crime I've seen, because theoretically, they said with or without signs, by being there in and around his house, and they said within 100 yards of the property line, which is well within what would be the street, basically. And he's targeting the house, like his specific house, bringing multiple people and getting multiple people involved in it. that's a crime. I mean, according to Utah, that's a crime. So, and a Class B misdemeanor, of which he's verbally admitted to doing. I understand the serving the paperwork thing is kind of neither here nor there. I don't understand the civil
That's very interesting.
side of it, but targeted picketing of a residence, I mean, this meets the elements of the offense.
You sitting outside.
I didn't know about that.
outside his
See,
house?
this is why he needs so many lawyer friends. I would have had no idea. Now, I think you guys were saying that he has talked to lawyers since all of this, and hopefully before each decision, he'll be able to kind of double check with his lawyer people before he makes any more moves. That's what I'm hoping is going to start happening. Yeah, it is funny that he's like, oh yeah, I'm representing myself. I'm my own lawyer. And it's just like, no. You can't be doing that. We cannot, I say we cannot be making mistakes like that. We don't want to become the criminals ourselves. Ugh, scary.
His
It's so
family
scary.
didn't feel unsafe and putting these signs out here.
But doesn't the law say that if the average person feels unsafe, like, isn't this? It's like if a
You're
reasonable person.
right now. You're speculating. I know if I had multiple unknown people coming up to my door,
But you told him
and
what we're
putting
here
out
for, right?
signs.
You told him we're here to serve him papers.
I
He knows
understand that, but you have people coming here trying to deliver packages for you, and we both know that's not what they're here for.
That is a
Yeah,
very,
But wouldn't what?
I honestly do think that like delivering random packages of ducks and stuff like that, like, yeah, that's so unnecessary. It makes these kind of moves harder if you're just making it a toxic situation in the first place. Even though it is really silly, it's annoying that we're like giving them that ammo. Deliver the papers and be done with it. I don't know. Interesting.
This isn't something up for argument. I'm telling you how it is. Okay.
Great.
Right now, you put up a sign, picketing sign, up right in front of his residence. You're sitting outside his residence with someone you just met, supposedly trying to get them to serve papers for you.
Yeah, that's
when
what the
you
law
know you've
tells
been
me,
trespassed.
We're just, but even if that's what the
You've
law.
been told here. You've been told in Sandy.
Yeah, but I'm not trespassing now.
But you're sitting
So
outside.
here, Ben is under the impression that it can't be stalking, which I 100% agree. There's no universe where this is stalking. However, on the residential picketing, he put signs up. I didn't realize he put signs up in this guy's yard or near this guy's yard or whatever it is. And then he is likely within 100 feet of the residence in an attempt to bias or whatever. It doesn't really matter what the message is. You can't target somebody's house in Utah for that. It's Class B misdemeanor. That's going to be
wonder
arrestable
why.
in pretty much all 50 states, especially if that misdemeanor is being on viewed by those officers.
Yeah, there were definitely
And he's
some kind of
making
dumb
it
decisions. I
verbally
agree.
clear that he has no intention of stopping. So now he's knowing.
So, as far as I know, they didn't put signs on his residence. They put it on a free piece of land that was just, I think, owned by the city or something like that, just near his property. But apparently, there's some law where it can't be within 100 feet, which is interesting. I don't know why that's a law. 101 feet, exactly. See? They needed a lawyer friend for that. Because I do think that it is silly, and I think that if somebody wants to put something on public property, if they're allowed to put signage on a public, I don't know, area, it doesn't matter what's nearby. So that is a bummer.
And intentionally doing it. They kind of explained. I would have explained clearly, hey, look, I understand that the stalking side of it's probably not going to apply. This is the statute. I'll give you a chance to Google it real quick. But
Yeah.
picketing a residence is a crime, and it's happening in front of me. You weren't necessarily knowingly and intentionally doing it, but now I've told you.
Yeah,
right?
so fix
in an
it.
attempt to just
Yeah.
de-escalate this and make this all go away, I'm going to give you an opportunity to not commit that crime in front of me. But if you're going to say that you're going to do it, that would have been like a more clear slam dunk way of doing it. But
I wonder.
ignorance of the law is not an affirmative defense to prosecution, which means I did do the crime, but I didn't know. Just because you don't know it's illegal doesn't mean it's not illegal and doesn't mean they can't enforce it. So this is the first time I've sided, as much as it pains me a little bit, with the American Fork Police Department. But this officer went about doing it the right way.
That law is really
He's feeling
annoying.
unsafe. His family's feeling unsafe. You're putting
Well,
out
that's on them,
signs.
yeah.
You're putting out signs in front of his house.
Yeah, freedom of speech. Yeah.
Again, picketing.
is the issue here.
All right, hang tight.
Yeah, it's a bummer.
Be curious to see what these signs are. Next 3 years, we'll find out the crime was committed. All this body cam is muted.
Benjamin,
so annoying.
for me.
I don't see stalking at all, but I can see the residential picketing.
Yeah, so they muted their microphones, and then they came back and arrested Ben.
Trailer pocket.
I'll just stand over here. Do you have any weapons or anything like that on you?
No.
Okay. Let's put your hands behind your back.
Am I being arrested?
You're under arrest right now for stalking.
I don't see the stalking.
Yeah, that's really annoying that they muted their mics. I'm so mad about that.
I don't see stalking.
We're just following the law of what
Okay. So the elements of the offense, all of the elements of the offense, must be met to have probable cause for an arrest.
Yeah.
If we look at the statute for stalking, they keep pushing this idea that, hey, well, the kids are in fear, the wife is in fear, whatever. It's reasonable fear, right? You might have a fear of Jesus, right? And every single time somebody goes up and tries to evangelize you, that it puts you in fear.
Who is in charge of what the definition of a reasonable fear is, though? That's something that I'm having a hard time with. Are you able to arrest somebody first and then have a judge or jury decide? This guy's trying to sell me Jesus, and I have a reasonable fear, that Jesus scares me or whatever. Arrest him. That doesn't sound right either. How long can they be detained for before a judge or jury can make the decision? 24 hours? See, that kind of sucks too. I don't know. I guess 24 hours isn't like a huge deal, but that just means that somebody can take away an entire day of someone's life just for some accusation, which is very interesting. I don't know. I'm sure that's kind of a hard call, but it can maybe be up to 24 hours, but they'll get the information to you and figure it out as soon as possible. Very interesting.
Was it unreasonable fear? Every single time the postman goes up to go deliver you mail, it's UPS. They're going to be there all the time. I want to criminally trespass all of UPS from my property, right? Because I think they're going to give me an illness. That's going to be considered unreasonable fear. I'm not saying you couldn't secure a prosecution on a charge like that. If you can convince a jury of 12 people and a judge that these guys were in reasonable fear, then fine. You get to skate on that. But from a law enforcement perspective, I want slam dunks, especially if I'm going to put, every single time you put handcuffs on somebody, it's your butt on the line for whether or not it was a legitimate arrest. You lose qualified immunity the second you no longer had a law enforcement objective to be there. The picketing charge, I think they had all the way. They didn't try to press it, and maybe it's just because they were less familiar. You had time to Google it. This is a long encounter. I would have preferred, as much as I wanted to root for this guy, I don't like the arrest for stalking. I don't believe this meets the elements of the offense. You had it very available to you to look up the ring camera data, to look up the communications, and all of that stuff. I have a hard time with the stalking charge. It's Utah, so maybe they know something I don't about how this is treated on the prosecutorial side of things. But picketing, residential picketing, all day long. He's putting signs up. It's right in front of the residence. He's within 100 feet of
That's
the property
apparently a
line
law,
for it.
so you can
It's
use
very
that.
targeted. It's multiple days at a time. You cannot do that in Utah. He verbally admitted to doing it. Whatever. I'm glad he's not trying to hook this lady up for whatever, impersonating somebody servicing papers or whatever. That's stupid.
That's stupid.
I don't like this arrest for stalking. I really don't.
Yeah, I hated that they muted their mics first. Why? Why did they mute their mic? That is the worst time to mute your mic, right before an arrest.
In court. That's not what I was expecting to happen.
Dang it, this police officer, or this ex-police officer was so hopeful. But now he knows what all of us are going through. Yeah. Muting the mics.
Man's life saving.
Not good.
Yo, that is diabolical. Sorry, that's a wild side. I'm assuming this is across the street from the guy's house.
And when he actually saw the sign.
Crazy diabolical. I have the evidence I need for picketing here in a residence. It would have been a Class B misdemeanor. He probably bonds out really, really quickly for that.
Yeah, because it's still just kind of freedom of
speech.
Putting him in jail
was your goal here, for whatever reason, or just bringing an end to this whole altercation
Right.
or ordeal.
You have to have a good reason.
Like I said, picketing a residence would have been very, very easy. This is crazy. That is diabolical. Also probably very illegal. And on the civil side of things, you're probably also looking at like defamation or slander, or like
Interesting.
the one that's libel, the one that's in writing or whatever it is. That one.
But if they found that they had reason to arrest him, why mute the microphones? Ah!
That's the guy's
So
house.
ridiculous.
Yeah. So it's 100 feet of this guy's house.
Will you take him a statement?
That's
Yeah,
crazy.
just a written one.
Yeah.
Yep.
Ain't no way.
Call into the police department and try and speak with the officer of the case.
I'm on the phone with his girlfriend. Like, you know, like, am I going to be able to bond him out?
I don't know. I don't
What
know.
charge is he? Like, you know what charge?
I literally don't know anything about the case. I just showed
I
up
just
to
know
help.
we're trying to, like, that guy stole a bunch of money and stuff. And we're trying to get it back.
Yeah, so you'd have to. You can call into the police department and try and speak with the officer in charge of the case. But again, I don't know anything about the case other than
Y'all get legal
was
advice.
just here to help with them. So
Yeah, y'all get legal advice,
he's
seriously.
being arrested for criminal stalking.
Okay, for sure. Yeah, is that a felony?
Oh, so he actually said why.
Misdemeanor.
Okay, yeah, we're going to
believe.
go bond him out.
I'm not 100% sure on
That's
that.
crazy.
Don't quote me. You can
I'm
look
going
it
to
up.
look at this affidavit real quick because we have it here. This has become an incredibly long video. I'm sorry for everyone that's here. So they did
I'm not
charge him
sorry.
with the targeting a residential
We're happy to be
picketing,
here.
which I think they have as a slam dunk. The stalking is crazy work. After reviewing
Yeah.
all the previous incidents and speaking with all parties, I determined that I had probable cause to arrest Benjamin. For what? How did he
Are you
meet the
going
elements of
to-
the offense? For stalking.
When he literally was just like, you're on the line. What did he say? Oh my gosh, he said something like, oh, you're straddling the line for stalking. That's what he told him. Ben didn't do anything else after that. And then he comes back and arrests him for stalking. That's crazy. Like, either the police officer was convinced that he was stalking. That's
Benjamin told me
interesting.
was feeling unreasonably safe, and a reasonable person would feel safe. When did they tell you they were in fear? And was it reasonable fear? There's a judgment call there. Victim, suspects currently parked out front of his house, said that earlier that day, suspects arrived to a car full of kids at his house to harass his family. That's picketing. Observe his street residence, woman, driver's seat, blah, blah, blah. Victim explained to me that his company recovered, blah, blah, blah. This is another good report. Good on him. The officer there was pretty squared away. I don't really have a lot of
Okay.
complaints about him.
Interesting.
Because Benjamin was trespassed from the residence, returned, parked outside, had multiple people knock on the door, outside and photograph the residence, deliver packages, post signs of the victim's face outside of his home. I believe there was probable cause to charge him with stalking.
Okay.
So what was listed here is the elements of the offense for picketing. You got organized picketing, if you want to call it that. But the stalking charge, I believe, is
Where'd
going
that
to
come from?
require fear, specifically reasonable fear, or being placed in reasonable fear of whatever it is, bodily injury. I'm just going to look it up. Actually, you know what? That's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to look it up.
Okay.
Because when in your arrest
Yay.
affidavit, you're going to have to clearly lay out that the situation met all of the elements of the offense. So I have probable cause, not proof beyond a reasonable doubt, but probable cause to believe that this crime occurred. I'm going to take a law enforcement action, which is an arrest. And that is what's articulated here of he's been trespassed, he returned, he parked outside, he had multiple people knock on the door, he photographed the residence, delivered packages, and posted signs. All of that sounds more like a protest or picketing than it does stalking. Let me look it up. We're going to read, because we're going to be thorough
We're
today.
gonna read.
Course of conduct means two acts directed towards a specific individual, including acts or the actor follows, monitors, observes, photographs, surveils, threatens, communicates about an individual, or interferes with that individual's property. He meets that, for sure.
Did they
That
actually
is
look
part
at
of
the ring
Directly
camera
or
though?
indirectly through a third party. I think he meets that as well. By any action, method, device, or means. Cool. I think he meets that at the very least. However, when engaged in any of the following acts, causes someone to engage in any of these acts. Approaches and confronts the individual. Yes, that at least happened. Individual's workplace, that definitely happened. Appears at an individual's residence, individual's neighbors, enters owned leased property of the individual. That 100% happened.
Not wrong.
I do think that he has met the first chunk of at least one subsection A and subsection A2 and all that other kind of stuff. The actor commits stalking.
But they didn't tell him when they were arresting him.
Side of it on the top part of this definition. This is literally definitions. The actor commits stalking if the actor knowingly and intentionally or intentionally engages in conduct directly directed at a specific individual or is reckless, unironically reckless. Sorry, Ben. Would cause a reasonable person to fear for the individual's own safety or suffer emotional distress, or violates a stalking injunction, which would be like a protective order.
Emotional
a criminal
distress.
stalking injunction, it's a permanent protective order, right?
This is really interesting.
So all of this is predicated on...
Yeah, a warning?
A reasonable person.
Or just telling him why?
Of safety. Not serious bodily injury, but just fear of safety. So if this guy, if Josh can convince the law enforcement that he's in reasonable fear for his own safety or the safety of his family, or is going to suffer emotional distress. I don't hate the elements of the offense here. I'm assuming he was swayed that there was reasonable fear, right? You're gonna have a real hard time with that in court. It is a misdemeanor. A Class A misdemeanor.
Well, okay, you're going to have a hard time with that in court because you muted your microphones. You don't even know, like, we have no idea what happened after that. And then all of a sudden it's like, you're being arrested. Like, just, there's no connection to what led this to this. That is what's so hard about it.
I don't think he's gonna get any of these other, like, aggravated stalking or anything stupid like that. That's a really vague law. Because again, it's still gonna require reasonable fear. If there was no threats that were made, if there was no, like, you know,
and the guy
he's gonna have
is
some emotional distress.
The guy is lying. Josh is lying, at least as far as we know, that like Ben has been bringing people in to threaten them. I don't know.
Because he owes a bunch of people money, or allegedly, should I say, owes a lot of people money. I don't know. Right. This one seems a lot more of a stretch. I think the picketing one's a slam dunk. I think there's no way in the world he beats that charge unless he's got, you know, an incredible lawyer. This one, I think, is going to require a little less leverage. It's at the very minimum going to get pled down to like a disturbance or breach of peace charge. There are very real situations where, like, especially when you talk about like dating stalking, you go on a Tinder date with somebody, they refuse to leave you alone, and you're afraid of that person. That's kind of what this statute's really designed around, right? A colleague, a coworker won't leave you alone after getting fired or something weird like that. That's really what the statute's designed for, but they're making it fit in this situation because they believe it fits. But yeah, the picketing thing, he's screwed up. I think he's 100% screwed on the picketing side. If you like this type of content, you want to see more of these breakdowns, please like, comment, and subscribe. Our goal here at OnlyCops is to promote ethical law enforcement interactions. This was considerably less egregious than that traffic stop was. Before that, go ahead and hype the video if you want to see more of this stuff. Also, just ask comments. If you have comments, put them in the comment section below. I'm answering these as fast as I possibly can. And then subscribe. We do stuff like this all the time. We also do live streams and a bunch of cool stuff if you want to be part of the community.
It's really funny because just looking at his background, I'm like, he's a live streamer too.
We also have a Discord.
I can tell.
The easiest way to join that Discord is by becoming a member of our Patreon group.
Man,
or
I've been
YouTube
on Twitch for
program.
too long.
And for as little as $1 a month, you can get direct access to us and ask questions for this all the time. Till next time, peace.
You never see a cop on YouTube where they're like, oh yeah, cops, you know?
Face me, I deserve it.
No, I need you to leave. This is the last time I'm going to tell you. So they're posting this. So we're going to take it down. And then, yeah, we may come and talk to you again. Don't. Do not do that.
Yeah, for sure.
You understand me? Right now, you're attempting to destroy evidence. Okay, put your hands behind your back. That's a worse charge than what you're looking at.
I think that's so annoying that he was like, you are attempting to, you can't tell someone that what they were attempting to do or not. I mean, not right there, I guess. You're attempting to destroy evidence. Was I? You sure about that? I'm gonna like this video. I liked it, and I like this guy because he does look up the laws and he reads the laws. I think that's huge. I just don't know anything about them, so that helps me to be like, okay, you know, that makes sense instead of just taking someone's word for it. So I really appreciate that. I was not expecting to get sucked into this topic so much. Mwah! Bye.